All right, bam, we're live. We got one working. Welcome to all you on the YouTubes. Let's get our other friend going here. We're almost there. It's a little bit of a process. You know what's interesting before I do get on TikTok is the censorship that happens on something on all these platforms. TikTok being the one I notice it the most right now. There's certain topics that I want to talk about in construction, stuff like addictions, you know, killing the competition, murdering the competition. You can't say that, right? Nobody has a sense of discernment. Everybody, people like to live in this black and white world where if you say the word addiction, if you say the word murder, it's all evil and bad. It's very interesting. So, anyway, I'm hoping that the people that are on my channel are smarter than the average bear and have that level of discernment. So let's see if we can get TikTok going here for you folks. All right, bam. We are live and live. Look at that. All right. Get everything going here. We will share the screen. Bam. Bam. All right. So today's a good one. Man, if this is ever a struggle for you, a sticker shock, please reach out to me. I can share so many examples across many industries, whether you're selling remodeling services, you want to sell a skid steer to somebody, you're trying to sell like your vehicle on Facebook Marketplace, sticker shock, right? And how when you bring up money quickly, it eliminates so much anxiety and red flags, and it just moves the process along. So when it comes to remodeling specifically, the best thing you can do is get the elephant. I talk about get the elephant out, talk about the elephant in the room, bring it up. That's price. Okay. Homeowners are calling you. Yeah, you know why they want an estimate? Because they want to know what it's going to cost. So stop wasting your time spending 4 hours looking at every nook and cranny at their house only because they were just curious what it cost. They had no intention of hiring you. You know, you can learn all of that over a brief phone call. And that phone call saves you time, energy, and money. Now, some clients, when you talk with them and you give them a ballpark, they're going to want to go on the higher end. Awesome. That's who you book the appointment with right away. So, I mean, you never lose. There's this big fear. Guys will tell me, well, I don't want to bring up the price first. What if they want to pay more? Okay. Like, how often does this happen to you that you're like so afraid? Does the client tap you on the shoulder after you sell the deal and say, hey, Bill, I know you quoted me 85 for the kitchen. I was ready to pay 100. You lose. This doesn't happen in the real world. Okay. If you're pricing things fairly and you're pricing them so that you're making a profit, then you provide what the homeowner wants. You give them good value. I would tell you to price things high always, and the homeowner's going to let you know if it's too much. They're going to say it's too much. So then you find a way to bring it down. I would suggest you start with your scope. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, yeah, I think we could work with you on the price. What is it that you want to take out of the cart? So, anyway, I'm just sharing from my personal experience that I've experienced tremendous success when I bring up price right away. I get it out in the open. It diffuses the entire situation. It takes the pressure off. No one people aren't anxious anymore. I'm gonna tell you right now, the average homeowner is sweating it when they're talking to a contractor. They're like, I don't know if we can afford it. Get that discussion over with as soon as possible. Just put out some pricing. Okay. Now, I would recommend you guys use the cost versus value report. If you're not familiar with that, you hit me up and I can share with you how you get that. But this gives industry standards for what things cost. If you want to learn about kitchens, you can go to one of my websites. It's called dreamperfectkitchens.com. Enter in your email address, go through the sales process. I put it all right there on the website for clients. Like, here's what, and I give 3 examples of what kitchens cost: low, medium, high, good, better, best, however you want to call it. And when you do this, it allows people choice. Now, understand that when it comes to choice, too many choices leads to confusion. Right? You go into a grocery aisle and you're trying to find granola these days. You don't know what you want. It's fucking overwhelming. There's like 1,700 different bags of granola. You don't want that, right? In remodeling, you want to break it down, keep it simple, give people like 3 options: good, better, best, right? And you can relate it to cars. I like to use the Honda story. I like to explain to people, you know why Honda makes the Civic, right? It's the car with the basic tire. It has like no soundproofing, very little minimal suspension, not much luxury. It's just a go-getter, little rice burner, right? Car zips around all day long. That's the Civic. Now, if you want more luxury, you want some nicer tires, you want a car that's a little quieter and rides a little bit smoother, you step up to the Accord. And then for those that really want the luxury, you move over to the Lexus, right? That's where the high end is. And you should have that repertoire in for all of your products, whether it's your kitchens, your baths, your basements, your decks. You should have 3 levels of service that you offer. All right. So this is how we get rid of the sticker shock. And again, I'm just sharing from personal experience. So talking price can often feel like walking a tightrope. If you have a lot of anxiety, if you notice this about yourself, then that's your clue. Damn, I got to start talking about price right away. I have to get it out in the open as soon as possible. And you're going to totally change your process, right? Because some of you guys are like, well, if it's too low and they pounce, then I'm really screwed. If it's too high and they say no, then I'm also screwed. Well, here's how you learn a proper presentation process so that you win either way. That's why you give ranges and then you have levels, right? You can manipulate and position yourself where you need to be that works the best for you. So stop wondering if you're going to scare them off. And if you do scare them off, it's better to scare them off over the phone than to waste the time going out to their house and driving all around town, right? All right. I don't know how else to say it, but I think you get it. So it's when you're talking price, it's all in how you frame it. Hear that, okay? I'm going to walk you through how we talk about money and we're going to build trust and it's going to position you as a pro. So it weeds out the wrong clients and it helps you not blow up the conversation. If anybody has any questions, please put it in. Otherwise, I'm going to move and plow through this presentation. This thing probably takes about 10 minutes. All right, here we go. Appreciate you guys being here and buckle up. Here it is. All right. Why do remodelers struggle with price? Most contractors have been taught wrong because they watched their boss that they worked for. They look at what other people do. They listen to what the homeowner tells them. Don't bring up price to the end. That's how you don't want to do that. You want to wait. You want to wait. You got to find out, see if you tell them too early, you'll scare them off, right? Homeowners aren't scared of numbers. They're scared of surprises. Think about when the homeowner goes to try to buy a car. A homeowner's not going to go over to Ferrari if they can't afford a $300,000 car. They're going to go to like Chevrolet. The homeowner has an idea for what they can afford in their pocketbook. Now, do they know down to the penny with title, taxes, tags? No. And the same should be true with remodeling. You should be able to give them a ballpark, and then when they're actually ready to purchase the product, that's when you figure out down to the penny what it's going to cost. But initially, they should have a ballpark so that they know they're essentially at the right dealership. Okay. Looking at the proper product line. They don't want to wake up one day going, I was talking to this remodeler about a Ferrari when all I could afford was the Honda Civic. That's embarrassing. They are embarrassed. And when they get embarrassed, they're going to make you wrong, not them. They're going to push that blame over to you. So, in my opinion, if you avoid bringing up money, then you are coming across as sneaky or unprofessional, right? That's just my opinion. So you don't wanna be unrealistic, and it's not like you super lowball or super overpriced. You just give ranges. If you've done 7 kitchens in your career, you kinda have an idea now for kitchens for your marketplace. As long as you're looking at the right style of kitchen and you're dealing with the proper client, right? Like in my market, we would do $100,000 kitchens. I did not do $1,000,000 kitchens. Some guys do, and I wasn't trying to do $5,000 kitchens, okay? The average kitchen would be minimum like 45,000 and many were right around 100 to 120, let's say. Um, some might be a little bit more, but that's about where we were, 75, 85, give or take, depending on whether they were going to do granite or not. So I have a real good ballpark. And I can tell when a homeowner calls me and I ask them for their address, I can say, ooh, okay, that's our style client. I know a guy, he does all the high-end sports athletes in our area. He does like Cal Ripken's house. He remodels their kitchens. That wasn't me. That wasn't my client. Those kitchens are like quarter of a million, right? And he builds all the custom cabinetry. Everything is specifically tailored to Cal Ripken's height and how Cal Ripken wants things. Okay. That wasn't my target market. So I understood what my price was and where it went. And, those clients didn't call us because that's not how I advertised. So understand your market, make sure you're getting the right client. All right. Let's talk about this anchoring. Clients will hone in on numbers. So understand anchoring. That's the first number that the client hears. It sets the stage. So if you don't anchor properly, that Chuck in a truck guy will. Okay. And what I mean by that is give a range. If you just say, well, it's like 5,000, they are going to zone in on 5,000 and that's the only number they're going to hear. Anything that's over 5,000, they're not going to like and they're going to be frustrated. That's why you give a range and understand they still are going to have a bias towards the lower range. So that's why you should have 3 price ranges. Start in the middle. Say, on average, Mr. and Ms. Smith, homeowners typically spend between 50 and 70. However, we've had several clients that want something nicer. Those clients spend between 80 and 120. And every now and then we'll come across somebody who wants a more of a budget process, and we can work with that too. Those tend to fall between like 45 and 60. So you see what I've done? I've put a bunch of prices out there and I've gotten it out. And now I can see from them, do they cross their arms? Do they move in, start talking to me? Do they say, oh, well, we want the Civic style, or, oh, we can't afford the high end? I don't know what their response is going to be, but I can tell you this, when I give them that amount of information, they're going to give me a response back and they're not lying. They're going to let me know right where they fall because I put out the number first. So clients compare price versus risk. A higher number explained well, right, will help your client see that it's safer. A lower number with no explanation is all risk. And that is part of the process you should be when you're meeting with the homeowner and you're discussing projects, you want to share with them this entire concept. I have a whole presentation on risk. Okay. And how many, the low price contractor is the one that ends up in court. That's the one that doesn't finish the job. You're going to be in litigation for 3 years, right? So is it really worth trying to save the $5,000, Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Share with that with them. All right. Let's see. So let's talk about some strategies that help eliminate the sticker shock. You ballpark the earliest, right? I do it over the phone. Okay. You give the range. This helps prevent anybody being blindsided later. Now, if they flinch, then you understand that whether you've either totally misunderstood or they're just not your client, which is perfect. Refer them to your competition or a buddy of yours and then move on. Only focus on people that your ideal client. You can only do so many jobs per year. You don't want to be wasting 3 months or 6 weeks with the wrong client. It just becomes a nightmare. All right. Understand that you want to break things into some steps, right? So what we tend to do is after I give the ballpark pricing and I see where the homeowner is likely going to fall, that helps me navigate my next move. My next move is to say, Mr. and Ms. Smith, seems like you are a smart consumer and you're educated and you want to make a good decision. This is what other smart consumers who made good decisions about remodeling do. They go forward with a designing phase. They hire a contractor to come out and give them a design. That way they know exactly what they're getting, tailored custom to their space and to their tastes. So that's what I propose we do next. So for a kitchen, let's say that's going to cost 2,500 bucks. So here's our next move. I'd like to come out and we'll go over the design phase and I'll walk you through it. If you're happy with that, we'll go ahead and we'll get that agreement in place. How's Tuesday at 4? Okay. So that's when I come out to meet with them. It's so that they can sign up and do the design phase. And I explain to them at that appointment how the design is what they need. Then they're free to take that design, do whatever they want with it. They want to shop it till Wednesday with 17 other contractors, fine. If they want to then use that to hire us, I'll give them the fee back as a credit when they hire us to do the construction. And that's what almost happens like every single time. So this is how you shift the conversation and also use stories. Anchor what has happened and worked for you with other clients. Share that with your homeowner and give them stories about other large scale investments that don't work like remodeling. See, home remodeling is a true investment. It's going to allow, I didn't know you went live I cut ties with the good. All right, hold on. Express yourself. Let me see what your comments are. I appreciate you popping in here. Yeah, brother, I remember you. Yes, the good enough guy. Hey, brother, welcome. Good to have you here. Please ask any questions, okay? And understand that I'm looking at multiple screens, so I may not see your comment right away. But yes, glad you're here. Um, when homeowners are looking to make a sizable investment, like $65,000 to us as a contractor is not a lot of money, right? I'm getting $65,000 checks all the time. But to the average homeowner, that's a large check or a large purchase, expenditure, however, investment, right? Most people don't make those kinds of investments or purchases with routine. So to them, they're going to have some hemming and hawing. They're going to be anxious. They're going to lose some sleep. They're going to be worried. Most homeowners are more worried about making a bad decision. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to explain to their friends and family that they were stupid and that they made a poor choice and hired a jack off, right? And they got ripped off. And now their house is a disaster. And now they're going to have to go to court. And then they find out that the guy wasn't properly licensed. So now they probably can't even sue him in their state, right? Most states, if you work with a licensed contractor, the state already has determined how you go about going to court. In my state, this is it's kind of shitty for the homeowner, but the truth is, if you hire a licensed contractor in my state, you don't go to court, you go to arbitration. And that's not always the best thing for the homeowner. To be honest, it favors the contractor in arbitration because they're just trying to settle the deal and get everyone out as quick as possible. So I even share that with homeowners. I explain to them, in my state, I'll say our home state, Mr. Smith, the reason that the state wants you to go with a licensed contractor is because they want to limit the lawsuit, the liability. So I have to pay fund money into a fund that is for arbitration payouts in case the licensed contractor does something goofy and the state loses and they have to pay the homeowner out. It's called a guarantee fund. I go over all this with the homeowner, right? I let them know how big of a risk that they're about to make if they go with the wrong contractor. If they hire that chuck in the truck guy that runs around town and advertises those cheap, low prices, I'm like, do you realize all the things that could go wrong on this $40,000 to $60,000 remodel if you hire that guy? Like, whew, I don't know. You're a gambler. I'd say if you like to gamble that much, I would take your money, fly out to Vegas and bet the $45,000 on the roulette table and then come back and hire the contractor that you really want, the one that's, you can afford now. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you got to let homeowners know how silly they're being because they don't understand it. Nobody else is telling them that. That's awesome. Express yourself. Thanks for being here. So, but when I say these things and I talk with the homeowner, I do it from a place of empathy and compassion. I share with them, hey, it's tough out there. I know I wouldn't want to be in your shoes some days. It is hard to figure out who to hire these days, right? And talk to them about how when they purchase a brand new vehicle, how when it drives off the lot, let's say you buy a $65,000 SUV, it's not worth $65,000 even 1 hour after you own it and drive it off the lot. Whereas a remodel to the house, $65,000 being put into the house, that value is going to stick around. So when you go to sell the house in a year, 3 years down the road, that investment will get returned to you. So you're making an actual investment. Okay. Big difference. And then you explain to them the more you put in, the more you're going to get back. Okay. So this might not be the thing to pinch the pennies on. And that's where you can start getting into payments. So for some of you that aren't financially elevated and don't get into financing deals, you're kind of shooting. If you sell big ticket, like if you're selling $100,000 projects, 65,000, 45,000, to me, I would get involved and learn finance options. Okay. Because it's much easier to often sell a payment. And here's the thing about people that have money, they like to keep their money doing things for them as opposed to spending it. And this is what I'm saying. Most rich people will take the finance deal all day long. And I know you have contractors run around town, and this is what they say. Well, my clients, if they can't afford me, I don't want to work for them. I'm cash or check only. That's retarded. Okay. That's backwards. Here's the thing. And it lets me know that they don't really understand finances and business because most rich people leverage. They leverage everything. They're never actually spending their own money. Their money's tied up in this investment, in that investment. They have a rental property. They're in a business partnership, right? They've got a bunch of investments, retirement accounts. They're pulling money off of a 401k to finance a deal. They leverage. They can afford monthly payments because they have high income generally. And they don't want to take the money out of an investment to pay for the remodel. They would rather borrow someone else's money, pay a little bit of a fee. That's okay because they're probably doing better with their money in the other investment. So they leverage deals. When you learn how to help homeowners leverage their investment into their house, you will sell more deals at higher profit margins for yourself. And I understand that this could be a scary place to go if you're not used to finances yourself. It's okay. You don't have to know it. You just have to be open to learning how to present it and position it. Most of the finance companies do all the work for you. You just have to steer the homeowner to a website or a 1-800 number. Yes, correct. You don't want to be known for cheap prices. Yes, 100% quality. The race to the bottom is cheap. Okay. I'll tell you right now, that just go to Home Depot, Lowe's, your building supply house, and you can tell who the cheap guy is. It's a struggle for them. It's a struggle to keep the vehicle on the road. It's a struggle for them to get around the store. Everything in their life's a struggle. That's not where you want to be. You can also generally tell who are the guys that charge money, the professionals. They tend to dress nicer. They tend to not be in a hurry. They tend to have a nicer vehicle. They tend to be organized and have processes in place. That's where you want to be. Also, to help homeowners understand pricing and how remodeling works, talk about yourself and a previous client and share with them. Mr. and Miss Smith, I met with the Joneses 3 months ago. They live over on Sycamore Road, in that other neighborhood. I think your daughter's high school's over there. And what they found initially, they thought they were going to spend like 60,000 on the kitchen, which was a decent number, right? But as we talked more and they saw the value that they could get and they started to understand the quality of construction that was going to be best for them long term, they ended up investing $85,000 into their kitchen. Yep, it was more than they originally anticipated, but they didn't know. They just had a guess in the beginning. They watched a bunch of HGTV. However, you can call them right now. Here's their name and number. Talk to them. They will share with you how nice their kitchen is and how much they love it. And they're so glad that they didn't cheap out. And you share that story with the homeowner. That is going to help you raise them out of the gutter and you'll knock those cheap guys off. Just they'll get rid of them altogether. All right. This is a couple good phrases that for anyone that's still sticking around, you'll appreciate this. I'm going to give you 2 examples, what not to say and what to say. You don't say to someone it's going to be expensive. You say to them, Mr. Miss Smith, this is a good investment to make into your home and your future. You don't say we're pricey compared to others. You would say something more along the lines, we're not the cheapest, but we're the safest choice. We're the lowest risk contractor in the area by far. And that lets them start to ask questions. What do you mean by that? Don't say it costs 85,000. Say, most clients of ours in the past that have chosen the level of finish that you're looking at they decided to invest closer to 85,000. And that includes this and that, whether it includes like soft close drawers, knobs and pulls for the hardware. You get into a few of the features, the things that they're going to get with that investment. Another thing, you don't say to them on the defensive. You start by sharing what other people have invested in their homes, which then naturally leads to, so Mr. and Miss Smith, I've broken down the three different levels of investment, those ballparks. Which level of investment were you envisioning for yourself for this particular project here at this home? Now you can ask that. All right. So it takes the defensiveness off of the homeowner, and it just makes for a fun, more reasonable type of a conversation. All right. So here's the AI prompt that I would suggest you consider. Right. Um, for those of you that have been following, the goal every day is for you to come away with a thing that you can take, put into AI, and personalize it for your business specifically. So you're going to say to AI, hey, be my business remodeling coach. Write me a professional and conversational sales script that I can use when speaking with homeowners on my discovery call. The script should be as follows. I want to find a way to naturally bring up the topic of price and ballparking quickly. Yes, brother, Randaloop, that is exactly right. Three price options: good, better, best, right? Low, medium, high, however you want to phrase it. That is absolutely correct. Um, so you bring up the topic of price quickly. You present a ballpark range confidently without an apology. If you are nervous when you're talking numbers, the homeowner picks up on that nervousness and thinks there's something shady going on. Learn to be very comfortable and very confident. That might be something you have to practice in the mirror a few times. Whatever you got to do so that you're not anxious. Okay. You're also going to put into the prompt, I want to explain why discussing investment early saves time and ensures proper alignment and future success, less risk. Also, I want to use trust building language that positions me as a guide, right? That's your story brand style. Finally, provide at least three variations of wording so I can adapt to different homeowner archetypes, right? Different personalities. The price sensitive, the quality focused, the indecisive, the one that wants to sleep on it. Make it direct, clear, and easy to remember. No dancing around the topic. So you run that prompt and it's going to spit out a script for you. And then you practice that at the house. Practice it with a spouse, a family member, a neighbor, somebody that works for you. Say, hey, you be the homeowner that wants to buy a kitchen, and let's go back and forth for a minute so you can get a couple reps in talking it. So here's the bottom line. The sooner you bring up price, the sooner you know if you're talking to a serious client or not, and whether they're a tire kicker. Stop wasting hours. Stop feeding this insanity where people don't bring up price. Okay. Start being the professional in the room. I guarantee you, when you do the hard things, the homeowner respects it more. They look at you and go, that guy was different. There's something about him. I think we want to keep talking to him. Even if your price range is higher than ever, they'll respect you. Homeowners want to deal with competent people. They really do. But when they have nothing else to go against, they don't want to be oversold and ripped off. That's why they default to cheap unless you present them with why they shouldn't. Okay. So that's what I have for you guys today. Appreciate you hanging in there. This one went a little bit longer. If anyone has any specific questions, let me know. You can see my notes if you go over to the YouTube. And yeah, that's all we got. So I appreciate those of you that have commented so far. And that's what we have. Let me see here. Very good. I am going to let the clock tick for a few more seconds just in case somebody chimes in, has a question. Otherwise, The only thing I can say to you is, guys, it's interesting. I put out a lot of content, and some of the best content I think actually gets restricted. These A lot of these algorithms don't like certain phrases and words, and was to be direct. So I will use words that some people are like, "Well, that's triggering. That makes make me uncomfortable." And that's about you, not about me, right? I'm using real language, real words. And these algorithms on a lot of these social media platforms, they restrict that. So it's some of the best content ends up not really being shown well. So I find it very fascinating, but just understand that that's the nature of the beast. And also, when you're watching social media, get a handle to say certain content becomes popular because it matches the whoever is the founder of the app. It matches the messages that they want out in public. Okay, so you have to understand that that's how these algorithms work. Anyway, that's all I've. Any questions? All right. Well, I appreciate you all joining. We'll be back tomorrow. As always, we'll do another one. So if you're a follower of the account, you should get a notification. The only downside is sometimes, it happens like that and you won't always know. But if you just know to look for it. If you appreciate this kind of content, you want more of it, it's here every day. The goal right now, I am on day 24. I will do 100 of these straight. So that's another 76 days that I will share something in relation to running your remodeling business using AI to make it run better and helping you win more to beat your competition and be the leader in your marketplace. All right, guys, that's all I've got. So, unless somebody has a question and they want to put it in the chat, I'm not seeing any questions coming up. So, again, I appreciate you all being here. You are very welcome, A1 contractors. I hope this helps. And if we can be of any other assistance, guys, feel free to if you're a follower of the account, if you like and follow, you can reach out and I will reply to you. Okay. So if we can help you or address anything, if you're running up against a certain circumstance, like you've had the same type of objection come up 2 or 3 times, let me know. I'll make a video for you, whatever it takes. All right. So, all right, guys, thanks for being here. Um, we'll be back. Peace. All right, let's stop the screen share here. YouTube's a little quiet tonight, huh? What's going on with YouTube? I'd be curious what the average age of the YouTube follower is. If any of you that follow this channel and catch any of these lives, if you do live yourself and you use YouTube and you have success with it, and if I could be of any assistance to you, I would appreciate like we maybe get on a call and you can help me understand maybe what we could do differently. Because for whatever reason, right now, it's a drastic difference. We just don't seem to have the engagement that we would like on the YouTube as we do some of the other channels. And I am not sure why that is the way it is. All right, folks, have a good one. This is good content. Hopefully, it works for you. Again, I can only share what's worked for me. Take care.